A few days ago, I showed you a pile of parts and spoke about how any of this could become the new network for Virtualize Everything and asked you guys for suggestions. A few of you guys even offered some suggestions that I very much liked. Some of these included actually using pfSense for a firewall and router software instead of the OpenWRT that I suggested. I'm still very much looking forward to using OpenWRT and showing you guys how to set that up in a container. But I did follow your suggestions because I wanted to make a pfSense video for you guys all to use. Sorry about the shaky video. I actually don't have a tripod, so I'm holding my phone right now. But I wanted to take a moment to show you what the new cluster, or the budget cluster as I'm going to call it, actually is looking at, or looking like, right now. Alrighty, so here's the new cluster. Yes, it's very much budget, but I'm going to take you through this one part at a time and describe to you some of my thought processes and even some of the upgrades that we're looking at. Notice I even got the panel back on the breaker box today with our full electric car charger installed. I'm very excited about that. So the first thing I want to touch upon is the gateway, or the modem, or that all-in-one unit that I spoke about before that I am confined to using by Consolidated, my ISP. Nothing much has changed inside this at all. I actually chose to keep it pretty much that way and use this as a segment of my network for some of my devices. Then we can see a UPS that I installed here just under my sewer pipe. And you notice I'm only using one side of it. These are the power cords to my 3 systems, and this is a power cord for my modem, router, and switch right now. That goes down to a power strip that I'll show you in the next level. So then we have our first system, which is a 2nd gen A6 APU laptop that's of the G7 HP series. And you can also see in the background the power strip with the 2 extra plugs for powering my network switch and my modem. This puts everything on battery backup. Now I'm not too concerned about sizing my battery backup because I actually have a standby generator that I use. So my battery backup only has to last less than a minute for my generator to start, and then I'm back on generator power. So this serves just to buffer power and to provide power for a few seconds as my generator started. Here's the second system. This is I think it's a 6th gen Core i3 that laptop of the G7 series, about the same vintage as the one above it, but it has a severely broken monitor. Although I was given this system, so I did not have to purchase it. A system like this on eBay costs around $50 right now. A real good budget Proxmox server if you can work around some of the limitations of the broken monitor. If you'd like to see a short, very short video about how I worked around the limitations to get this system running, check out our channel. We have one on doing exactly that. Now, here is the old Cube system that you've seen as a demo system for quite a long time. We spoke about the 1st gen A6 APU that's in here, along with the 16 gigs of RAM, the solid state drive, and the extra drives that I use, all of that. Along with that, I've installed a Pro 1000 2-port NIC here, and that gives us a total of 3 Ethernet ports on the back of this system. This is the workhorse, and it's going to be running pfSense. I'm not going to be using high availability or anything on that because of the custom hardware for this system versus the other 2. You noticed I've also used a 3rd Ethernet port here, and this is going to act more as a console port or maybe even a port for some VMs going on to just ease up the traffic on the NIC. I'm not exactly sure how I'll configure that. Right now, it's just configured as a console port. for controlling the cluster. So then I've nicely or semi-nicely used some wire ties to run all of this up and proceeded to try to tuck as much wiring. It's really important when setting up any network closet, but especially your budget closet, to pay close attention to wire management. Wire management means that you're going to have an easier time swapping systems in and out and diagnosing problems as you go. And especially with a budget network rack such as this one, you'll actually see a few problems from time to time as hardware dies or hardware comes up or you upgrade or change configurations. And it's very important to have an easy way of diagnosing that and work through the problem. But hey, that's part of the fun of having a home lab. All right, so some of the upgrades that I'm thinking about doing is right now, this is an unmanaged TP-Link switch. That means I have no support for VLANs or anything else. And I'm actually thinking about adding this wireless router with DDWRT on it and actually setting up some VLANs to further segregate some of my traffic, my wireless traffic for some of my devices. That means that I'm actually going to have to add this switch in here, which is a managed switch and supports VLANs. So some of the thoughts on doing that is maybe actually to turn this modem sideways here, like so. And then I think I might take this switch and put it in here something like this. Of course, I'm going to have to remanage some of these wires, and that's a little bit painful, but I think we can work with that. I'm not entirely sure. I also plan on using this rack here, or this plastic shelf here, for some further projects. Maybe a Proxmox return in a cluster. I'm not entirely sure. I might even set up some 3D printing stuff here. If you have any ideas from some of the hardware you've seen or some of the other projects that you might want to see me use, go ahead and suggest them. And if they're within the budget or interesting to me, I might just do a video on them for this second plastic rack. As always, have a good night.